Hello, everybody. This is Elayna Fernandez, and we are talking about motherhood. Motherhood matters. And today I have a special guest with me. She is a dear friend of mine. I call her JJ, but she is Dr. Jiyoung Jung, and she is the CEO of Central Park Dental. Write that down if you are in the DFW area. And of course, you're going to have all of the information in the show notes. But let me tell you about JJ or Dr. Jung, right? She is an award-winning dentist and educator. She's being named the best dentist by D Magazine in Dallas, not once, but several times. And she's been featured on ABC, NBC, Fox, CBS, you name it. Plus, she spoke at TEDx and the United Nations as well. So she is a big deal, but not only because of all those titles, but also because of her heart. I know her personally. We have worked together. I have visited her facility. I mean, she is amazing. So before I just, just go and spend the whole 20 minutes talking about how amazing you are, JJ. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and what you want the audience to know? And welcome again.
Hi, I'm JJ. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, I'm a mother of two daughters, and I'm a grandma of two granddaughters. So, so it's really great to meet you. I have so much to share. And I grew up in South Korea. I came to United States late 20s. And actually, I started ESL at age of 30, and then I decided to be a dentist. So long story short, I got into dental school at age of 40. So this is my second career. I was a teacher before. So I have a special heart for the kids. So I'm so honored to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my gosh. So that was just a little snippet of your resilience and of your love for children, and also just how incredibly dedicated you are. Because to start ESL in your 30s, I mean, immigrate to another country in your 20s, and then ESL, and then become a dentist. That is just so fantastic. So, I know that you're passionate about children's health and well-being, and actually you started touching on that during your TEDx talk, which I'm gonna put in the show notes because you definitely gotta watch it, everybody who is looking at me right now. You gotta watch it. Okay. And so because you're so passionate, I wanted to really ask you some questions and really help all the moms who are listening, all the parents or caregivers or mentors who are listening about children's health. And I know that there is one little thing that you call the most important factor regarding children's health and well-being, and that most moms are not aware of. What is it that we're missing when we are taking care of our kids? Could you tell everyone this secret that we haven't heard of?
Yeah, this is such a secret, but such a simple thing because I get to see every day. So the one thing, if you ask me, okay, what is the one thing we can make this child healthier? Listen to their breathing.
Mm,
I want I want you to every mom, grandma to watch your kids how they are breathing. Are they breathing through their nose or breathing through their mouth? It doesn't have to be heavy mouth breathing, but even still a little bit lips apart. That means they might use their nose and mouth together. But as a human being, we are designed to breathe through our nose only. So mouth breathing is very, very common, but not normal. So when they are breathing, their breathing is supposed to be lip closure and no sound of breathing. If you start
mm,
to hearing there, Mm. Mm. That's a heavy breathing, labored breathing. There's some kind of obstruction or resistance going on. And also, absolutely open their mouth to sleep in their
Yeah.
car seat, take a nap. Watch them and listen and look at them how they are breathing. So, if we can promote nose breathing, their life will be better. 100% sure. One
Wow.
simple thing.
That is incredible. And you were sharing some stats with
Yeah.
about children and breathing. Would you share that with the audience?
Yeah, there's a research after research. There's a, more than half of our kids are mouth breather, and there is done by many other countries too. But in my practice, I think the 80% of kids they are mouth breather. It's
Oh,
more than you think because and also most mom they think it's normal. They're
yeah.
kids here, they're breathing.
I thought so too until I went to, your TEDx talk, and then we started talking about this, and I was mind blown about the fact that I never noticed that unless, they're congested or something like that. Like I wasn't really watching for that. And so what are the benefits of nose breathing? Because now that we know this little shift that will improve all of the health, it's like,
Right.
why do we need to do it?
So when we breathe through our nose, it will filter the air, warm the air, humidify the air. So it's a prep for our lung. So we get to have a clean air to breathe in. And also in the nose, there's special gas called the nitric oxide. What it does, it make oxygen delivery is much efficient and easy. So when you breathe through your nose, then our bodies get the good healthy air with a good oxygen delivery.
Wow, that's amazing. And so let's go to the other side now. And why is mouth breathing then negative? What are the negative consequences of it?
So to breathe our mouth open, first there's a lot of particles in the air. We are not living in the really clean air. There's a no
Yeah.
filtering system in our mouth. Compared to the nose, they're very different. Just there are a lot of things that hitting their mouth and make their mouth dry and back of your throat because they have somewhere we have some immune system. Part of that was tonsil. That tonsil will enlarged. It will
Mm,
obstruct their airway. Not only that, the tongue supposed to be stay lip roof of your mouth. But when you open your mouth and breathe, it go to floor of your mouth. So
wow.
what it does, it make our face to grow in more narrow. What we want, we want our tongue to be stay so we can have a beautiful U shape of the arch form. They holding it like that. But when our tongue is going down, this lot of muscle can push in, so our arch form will be narrow. What it lead to? It lead to lots of crowding.
Mm,
Overcrowding over the teeth is from the not developing our face. So we have underdevelopment of the face and tonsil enlargement. And also if we can have, that cannot breathe well, then our body have had to forward posture, have a breathe better because we have a better breathing in the flow when we do this posture. It
mhm.
make our body to be all messed up. And
Wow.
then they lead to sleep and breathing issue.
Mhm.
Most of all, they can lead to ADHD, bad wedding, fatigue, lack of focus on schoolwork, and many kids are labeled as not smart or not doing well in school, but it's nothing to do with their cognitive development. It's just
Wow.
they do not have a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Or
Wow.
yeah, mouth breathing.
Yeah, that's mind blowing. And of course, you are passionate about this because you are a dentist. So how does that relate to the practice and the work that you do?
So so they have a most kids have a lot of gum redness, inflammation. It's not
Mm-hmm.
from they are not brushing well because some teenager, they're not brushing well, but it's nothing to do with their diligency, hygiene. When they breathe their mouth open, there's a lot of inflammation because make their mouth dry. It lead to the cavities and gum inflammation. And that what as a dentist, what I'm looking at now, I started looking at not only teeth,
Mm-hmm.
our face, our teeth, our mouth, they are talking to me. They're like, there's something behind the story. And
Yeah.
yeah, kids not developing well. They are small size compared to, their brothers and sisters. And there's a lot of signs I can see from the teeth. Of course, I can do the gum care, cavity filling. It can be prevented.
Wow.
So yeah, as a dentist, and also I see a lot of grinding of their teeth, and people, oh yeah, they're grinding. I can hear her grinding from the other side of the room, but I was told that they will grow out of it. No, it will get only worse over the time.
Mm, mm,
So
yeah, that is so incredible how you don't just look at putting a band-aid as if you will, that you go to the root cause and that you want to also care for the development of the face, and also that you want to care for the body alignment so that we have the proper uh, cranial configuration, but also that we have our body aligned. So it's a really holistic
yeah.
approach when you think about that. And so when, now that we are aware of this, of course, and we know the negative issues that come from mouth breathing, and we also know the positive things that can come from nose breathing. How does a mom start to notice that this is happening, and what are the signs and symptoms that we can start to look for to know whether our child is nose breathing or mouth breathing?
So there's a very so it's just kind of observation. Simply, if
Yeah.
their lips get chipped and dried easily, some people have put a lot of kind of dryness, then chipped lips, and they have to lick a lot to make
Mm,
it to lubricate it. That's one of the simple sign. And also under the eyes, we call that dark circle. It's not, but some kids has a lot of purplish
yeah.
eye under the eye. Actually, that's coming from our face is underdeveloped. So it's kind of impinging
Mhm.
their blood vessel. It could be coming from that.
Wow.
So it's not only from just tired. There are some signs, and also here they're breathing, snoring. Definitely, there's something going on. Heavy
Mm,
breathing is you're supposed to not hear any breathing.
mm,
Grinding, and also if they can recognize a tongue tie, it's hard sometimes, but sometimes very obvious. If they have a recommended to have a speech therapy, it
uh,
could it could come from tongue tie. What it is, there's a little bit of attachment under the tongue. It's tight, so they can lift their tongue up. They can also lead to they cannot put their tongue in the roof of their mouth, right? That lift of
mm,
thing. So and when their tongue to be sticking out and there's a heart to shape, that means end of the tongue. That means there's something to holding the tongue.
wow.
And if you can say, ask your kids, say ah, look back of your throat. If there seems something behind there's a little lump back of their throat, it's supposed to not be there. That's a ton.
Wow.
And so if they're again the grinding, you if you hear that, that's the one of the sign. And when they look at going to sideway, if their head, ears supposed to be lined with their shoulder, but many
Okay.
kids have this.
Mm.
I mean, exaggerating, but head forward posture. They're trying to get some better air. That's how our brain, our body designed to do that because that's important for them to breathing. And and sometimes really small statue, small, and I think they're seems healthy, but just they are not growing well, and some kind of mood swing, aggressive behavior, and also the hard to focus on schoolwork. That's
Wow.
all connected to that. So many kids who are recommended to get tested for ADHD, their criteria is almost identical to kids do not have a good night's sleep. So instead to get them medication, why don't you check their sleeping and breathing?
Yeah.
So let them have a good night's sleep. Let's see how does it work for them.
Wow.
And it's
Amazing.
another side note, and ADHD medication, that's a $9 billion per year in America. That's a big business. That's what the pharmaceutical uh, company trying to pursue, just trying to help them. But no, we can have alternatives. It's not. I'm not saying every case just like that. No,
Oh,
but
of course.
yeah, there's some case can be benefit to evaluate it for their breathing and sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. There are some children who definitely need their treatment. That's definitely something that is needed. However, I think that there are a lot of misdiagnosed children. And so this is just one of the factors that are very, very important to be aware of so that
Mhm.
we can rule out every possibility.
Right.
And if it's so simple, it's definitely more cost effective, easier, and as you shared earlier, it's going to impact their health forever. So not only are they not getting the care that they need, but they're also not solving the issue that's actually causing all of those problems. So I definitely love the awareness that you're bringing to our moms and everybody who is listening and watching today, because it could be just really, really a simple test. And of course, uh, you are able to do that at your practice, right? So you're able to check for these things. How do you really diagnose this?
So there are some features I'm looking for, but also there's a really great test, and I ask them to utilize their tongue, move this way and that way. But also, if you know your kids, are my kids really breathing through their mouth or nose? There's a simple test. So what I would say that just sip of water, just a little of the water, let them hold in their mouth, lip closure, wait for 3 minutes. If they hold it for the water, that means they can breathe through their nose.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's a habitual thing. Then that means we can promote them to utilize their nose, not the mouth. There's a one good way is also mouth tape. There's such a what? Right. Mouth tape I need for my husband. So, oh yeah, actually, there is a one for husband too. So there's a simple thing like mouse tape
Yeah.
reminder for our brain to utilize okay, lip closure
Wow.
and put your tongue up against roof of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So your tongue's supposed to be stay up, roof of your mouth, not the floor of your mouth,
Yeah.
and teeth slightly apart, and lip closure, and
Mm-hmm. Wow. I'm trying to, as you're speaking, I'm I'm kind of licking my lips and putting the tongue in the roof of my mouth and the floor of my mouth. So this is just really, I don't think I've ever been aware of when my teeth, obviously I know what's happening with my teeth, but never where my tongue is or whether I'm breathing through my nose or my mouth. And I'm definitely going to do this test with my children and look for those symptoms. So, grinding, heavy breathing because we're not supposed to hear it, snoring. I mean, all of these things we think that are normal, and they are actually signs that something is going on that could affect their development, not only body, but also brain. So this is really, I'm so grateful. This is really enlightening. And so if we realize that there's something going on, if we do this test and we realize, okay, something is happening, what are some of the treatment options for children who already developed those issues?
Yeah. So before that, I would want to make sure they can breathe their nose. If their nose is nose blockage, we have to do something about it. And one of the actually simple tests, this is my phone. I just make the screen black and let them breathe their nose and see, look at this pattern. If there has a little bit of residue from the my breathing, you will
Mm-hmm.
see that. And if you have a butterfly shape, kind of bit large butterfly shape, right and left side, more symmetry, that's what we want. So I will do it again. So like a simple, really simple thing, it doesn't cost
Yeah.
anything. So
Yeah.
here, breathe. Do you see there's fogging,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
See the fogging and look at the pattern. Maybe one is okay, but the other one was blocked. So make
Mm.
sure nose supposed to be opened, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we need some irrigation, whatever that is, and some natural type of nose spray. So make sure nose is open for breathing. So just clear
Wow.
out that and so for I want you to see dentist who understand and who was trained for sleep and reading related to uh, in addition to general dentistry or specialize in sleep and breathing disorder uh,
Mhm.
because it's very simple and easy if we can intervene early age. It's
Mm.
just so much easier because we can develop the face because they are still growing. We can utilize their growth with their facial growth together. If not, they would usually end up, age of 12, the kids, the girls, already 95% of cranial is already developed. So
Yeah.
if you wait until, oh, I'm gonna wait until their permanent teeth coming out, then I'm gonna do braces if they have the lot of crowding. That's one way. But if we can start early and we can make face to develop and right tongue posture, right breathing pattern, not only they're healthier if they have a good arch form, then
Hmm.
they may not need the braces or very minimal the braces.
Wow.
We can because when we develop the face, teeth will be in the right place.
Wow.
So the early intervention or yeah, early the prevention is
Yeah.
always a better than trying to do damage control.
Yeah.
So I also see the many other, their 30s and 40s and 50s and many decades of damage. Now we have to deal with it because they saw a lot of symptoms.
Yeah.
Then it's a lot harder and they went through a lot. So
Mm.
we can we can get rid of many, many misery.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And
Oh,
how early is, is when is too early and
so,
when is the right time?
oh, if you have a newborn,
Yeah.
you have a newborn, if your kids are mouth open, they are kind of when they're sleeping, they're put chin up so they can lip closure. Start with that. And very
Yeah.
early age, day one. because they start to open their mouth and breathing right
Oh,
after. It's part of our, so then it's part of our kind of habit. We don't want that. We don't want babies to create that habit for early age. So to do that. But as a dentist, if they recognize it, that's my education for my the parents for their kids. Okay, are you looking at this? This is look at this. This tongue just start to enlarge. Can we promote their nose breathing? So that's the only the education or
yeah,
also tongue function is very important. We like the tongue to be roof of your mouth, right?
yeah.
We learned that at age of 50. Can we,
Wow.
right? I want everyone to learn that their early age, not like me, right? So I know I'm still learning how to utilize my tongue. Age of 50.
Yes. Well, I'm 48, so I'm learning new things too, and I'm learning so much thanks to you. So I'm really
There's
grateful.
such a thing as a myofunctional therapy. What they do is they're working with your tongue because it takes really 4 to 8 months for our brain to recognize how to utilize our tongue properly.
Mm,
And so there's a lot of work need to be done for them to have. It's like a exercise. The tongue is a big muscle.
yeah.
So just like we do the exercise to develop our muscle tone, tongue we need to do that, the right position, right posture. And
Wow.
only for the kids, the sleep test is a great way. I still have a sleep test, and even 5 years old and 4 years old, if they can. It has a
Okay.
little ring. They can sleep with it. Sometimes kind of falling apart, so we have to do separate nights. But in their bed, in their pillow, you don't have to go anywhere. Just a little ring. So that's a great way to have just have baseline.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and it's really, if they promote their nose breathing, sometimes tonsil get shrink over the time.
Yeah.
Even though kids with a tonsil removal surgery, but if they do not, but it does not mean they're going to do the nose breathing. Mouth breathing has to be kind of, we have to work on that to promote the
Yeah.
nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, the tongue tie, and they can, not every tongue tie need to be released, but there's something to look for. So work with a dentist who understand all that. So certain intervention type of treatment we can start at the age of 3 and 4.
Wow.
I know it's
That's
crazy.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
we have to work to do. But when I start the treatment that age, that means I'm binding to their until they become a 12 years old. So they all permanent molar coming up.
Yeah. You become part of the family.
Yeah, because when we start early, there are much more leeway, much more um, way we can develop the face. Just
Yeah.
critical time. But so few things, if you few things right in their early age, that's all they need.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, JJ, for all of this amazing information. It's so helpful, and I'm just really grateful for the work that you're doing and also for the incredible heart and passion that you put into it, because I know that you work so hard and that you're such an inspiration in general, and the work that you're doing is really preventing a lot of issues for so many children and people in general. So since we are out of time now, I wanted to ask you if you wanted to share something to leave our audience with so that everyone who is watching and listening can have a final message from you before we go today.
So every mom, you guys are incredible. I'm still mom. I love being a mom and also love being a grandmother. So when I was the mom of two little kids, I no, I majored in child psychology and education, and I was a teacher. I supposed to be do things better than most people who doesn't get education, right?
Yeah.
I was not. I was so I have no patience. I feel like I'm doing all wrong, and I I at one point I feel like okay, I think they're better being in someone's hand, not mine, because
Oh
I'm
my
not a good mom.
gosh.
That's
Oh wow.
yeah, sometimes, right? Sometimes I get
Yeah.
frustrated. why I'm not can be a better person, all that. I know they make us to grow. It's their job. That's what God gave us, right? So
Yeah.
every mom, I just want you to give yourself a little pat. You are
Mm.
doing great. We all need that. I really needed that when I was like, oh my God, I'm not really good mom.
Oh.
Yeah, hug yourself. You're doing great. Even though you miss all the mark, that now we are still learning.
Yeah. Oh, what a beautiful message. And yes, I have felt like that so many times, and I'm sure we are not alone. And it's such an inspiration to hear you say that. And I did it right when you said it, and I'm gonna continue to do it. Thank you, JJ. Thank you so much. And please, everyone, make sure that you check out the TEDx talk and the United Nations talk, and also that you visit the website so that you can connect with Dr. Jung, right? And just start the journey to better breathing for better health. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So much.